It's Tuesday, July 14th, 2026. When people tell you who they are, believe them. Are flock cameras a scam and a coincidence too convenient to be a coincidence? Next on the AM Update. War it is, I guess. President Trump formally letting Congress know that we are back at war. Defensive postures, defensive measures against Iran. He told Salem News and Hugh Hewitt that, things are about to go boom in a big way, as if they haven't already, again, over the skies of Iran.
Can you or the American military or the Israeli military get to what's left of their third string and their fourth string and their fifth string? Do you know where they are? Can you kill them?
Yeah, I do, but we don't want to talk about that. But
okay.
We certainly are watching. Yep, I know a lot about that subject. I know a lot, but I don't think it's appropriate to talk about it right now. But we will be hitting them. Like as an example, we're going to hit them very hard tonight, and we're going to hit them hard tomorrow. And there's not a damn thing they can do about it. They have nothing. They have nothing going other than they have big mouths.
It's President Trump, once again, after letting Congress know we're back at war with Iran, saying the bombs will continue to drop until they submit to whatever our demands are now. It was interesting watching the price of crude oil. It went up yesterday, and it went up, significantly, but it wasn't to the $90 a barrel. Now, it could change by the time you're listening to this. We could be back up over $100 a barrel, but it seems like the markets still kind of think that oil is moving through the Strait of Hormuz. Also saw this crazy story yesterday. Iran's former hardline president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, he has reportedly been placed under house arrest by the government of Iran for his alleged supposed contacts with the Mossad. Tell your 2006 self that headline, that story really exists, citing some U.S. officials. Some of the reports of this story. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. I remember David Letterman referring to him as Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, under house arrest, reportedly, from the Iranian government because of his contacts with the Israeli Mossad. Interesting story. Let's go back at home. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster announcing Lindsey Graham, the late Lindsey Graham's replacement in the Senate.
Today, under the law, it's my duty and honor to name someone to serve in the place of this irresistible man, this irreplaceable man, this extraordinary man for the remainder of his term. Lindsey took care of his little sister in years long departed. It's my honor to ask his little sister, Darlene Graham, to finish his work for him now. And by the way, Darlene, I don't know if I told you, but after we spoke on the phone in the wee hours of Sunday morning, and you agreed to serve through tears, earlier, I had wondered what you would say, and I was humbled by your quickness to see the duty that you had to serve.
Henry McMaster announcing Darlene Graham, younger sister of the late Lindsey Graham, will be taking his seat in the United States Senate. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still pretty unclear as far as next steps towards a permanent candidate for that Senate seat in South Carolina. So I'm not going to say definitively what happens next. The appointment, obviously, the temporary role, that's the first step. But in terms of who gets to run in November, we're getting pretty late in the game. We will see what happens there. Let's go to this as well. Also in the Senate, Democrat Senator Elissa Slotkin. When your opponents tell you who they really are and what they really believe, we should listen. And you shouldn't be surprised that Democrats these days say things like this. Elissa Slotkin, Democrat Senator.
The other thing that we blocked yesterday was the SAVE Act, right? Which was to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
Elissa Slotkin. Should we listen to that again? Let's listen to that. Maybe we misheard it all.
Allow this administration to rig our democracy so that it would be hard for any Democrat in any state to win any election.
So she's bragging about the Democrats blocking the Save America Act, which, among other things, accomplishes making sure you have to show proof of citizenship in order to vote in elections. That's the main provision of the bill. And here's Alyssa Slotkin saying what the Save America Act actually does is make it, quote, harder for any Democrat in any state to win any election. I don't know. If I didn't know better, I'd say it kind of sounds like Alyssa Slotkin is saying that it's harder for Democrats to win when people who don't have to show citizenship to vote are able to vote. Actually, that is what she's saying. Yeah, that's precisely what she just said, with a straight face, bragging about it. Now, if you're surprised by that, you were probably born yesterday or 5 minutes ago. They've said, the Democrats, different figures have said very similar things, though not this overtly, as you heard Senator Slotkin say there. Let's go quickly here. Gavin Newsom, governor of what state? Complaining about what state?
We designed a system, a machine, over the course of the last half century to make it more difficult to build. It was intentionally designed. It wasn't by chance. It wasn't by happenstance. It was designed not to build.
Governor Newsom complaining. I think he's launching some effort to get California building again or something like that. Complaining about the very system that he's presided over for however many years now that he's been in office. This damn system? Look, can you believe this system? It was designed to make it harder to... We're all looking around for the guy who's responsible for this. Now, of course, he's shoving off the responsibility to yesteryear, but I digress. Did you see this story? Women over 40 years old are now having more babies than teenagers. This is from U.S. Census data and other fertility markers from the National Vital Statistics System data. Women ages 40 and older now have more babies than U.S. teenagers. Birth rates among women aged 40 to 49 increased 24% nationwide between 2015 and 2024. Washington, D.C., New York, and New Jersey recorded the nation's highest birth rates among women aged 40 to 49. Overall, U.S. fertility rates have fallen for decades. Births among women over 40 are moving in the opposite direction. Of course, delayed marriage, putting your career first, all of the messages that culture has been telling young women, that has everything to do with this. The average age of first-time mothers reached a record 27 and a half years old in 2023, rising from 21 in 1972. So that is incredible. For the first time in recorded history of this country, those who are kind of aging out of the childbearing ages, they're having more babies than those in the prime childbearing years, at least biologically speaking. Is that bad? I'm starting to think this is bad. This is a story from ANF Investigates, that's Atlanta News First, about a story out of Colorado involving, you've heard of these, flock cameras. Listen to this.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
Chrisana Elzer learned the power of flock firsthand.
You were in town from 11:52 until 12:09. Exactly. Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing.
When a Colorado police officer showed up at her door holding flock snapshots of her truck.
And here's when you left at 12:09. That's when you left town.
To get?
No, to stop at Ridge Trail.
Wait a minute.
And take a package. Well, there's no shushing. I don't need to be.
I need to know where this is.
The first thing he pulled out on the body cam is that flock picture, the clear photograph of your car.
But here's your vehicle in the neighborhood many, many times, apparently casing houses, because you just can't drive through for work or visit other businesses. You can only be casing houses.
It is her. It is 100%. It is locked in. There is zero doubt. I wouldn't have come here unless I was 100% sure. 100%. It is certain. in. It is on video. You're obviously welcome to go to court.
Chrishana was charged with stealing a package, but it wasn't her. The porch pirate was somebody else.
Multiple times you tried to show him your video evidence. He didn't want to see it.
No, even when I called him back, he said, that's not my job.
You looked at the time of a crime. You saw my vehicle entering in the flock camera.
No, what I did was I did an investigation.
You called my wife a liar. You said this is fact.
I have video evidence. I don't know what you want me to say.
The charges were dropped after Chrishana spent weeks trying to get the police chief to look at her evidence. Time-stamped video from her truck and a neighbor's doorbell camera showing she wasn't at the scene of the crime.
What does it say about where we are that you feel you have to have more cameras than the police have in order to make sure you can prove yourself innocent?
It sounds like it flipped the script to you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Without a flock camera, that detective would not have been at her door. By his own admission, he pulled out the flock picture of her car. Do you want to apologize to Chrishana Elzer for what happened to her?
For the police misusing the tools? I don't think that I have to apologize for him.
He wasn't charged with a crime. He wasn't, other than being reprimanded for his attitude.
Sure.
This is a flock safety employee, by the way.
But I would tell you that, should I apologize for somebody misusing a tool? I don't think so.
Flock Safety Chief Communications Officer Josh Thomas.
Who's watching the watchers in these cases?
Well, the city council. The city owns the data, so city council would have the appropriate responsibility in that case. Our point of view has always been that it is not Flock's job to police the way police do their work.
I've seen a lot of stories, a lot of videos of, I would assume maybe left-wingers, but I don't know for sure, cutting down these flock cameras, saying, hey, don't shine a laser in these flock cameras. I see them. There's one, across my yard. There's one of them. Watching the road, of course, we're told. That's what it looks like. That's the direction it's pointed. I've seen, it seems like it's coming from a lot of left-wing sources, this just can't have this flock camera thing, but I've also seen a lot of widespread things from people who I think are right-leaning, saying, hey, these things are kind of mass surveillance. Usually, and I'll just admit my bias here, when I sense something is coming from a left-wing direction, I start to automatically discount it in my mind. That's just my bias. I'm right-wing, I'm conservative, Christian, so that's just the bias that I have to fight back against. However, there are two issues. These flock cameras that are there's tens of thousands of them everywhere. And the AI data centers that seem to have wide, bipartisan, broad support. A moratorium on the data centers and getting these flock cameras off of our roads. The data centers thing, I'm a little bit ambivalent towards, and I've gone into that before. The flock camera thing, I started to weigh and measure in my mind what I thought of them. The police in other cities who contract with flock safety, they bring in these cameras under the auspices of catching wanted fugitives, tracking license plates associated with wanted people, and for tracking down stolen cars. All right, all well and good. Here's the problem, though. These cameras are designed by humans, so they're not going to be perfect. And the humans who are accessing the data are also humans, as I just said, not perfect. You combine these things together, and you've got a car reviewer in Minnesota getting pulled out of his car that he was reviewing by almost gunpoint. Luckily, the officers did not pull their guns on this guy. That happened over the weekend as well. And it was a flock camera that flagged this guy's license plate, but it was mistaking it for another car out of California that was stolen. What I'm trying to say is, if you've got a system designed by human beings that uses cameras that are all over the place, tens of thousands of them, and it's being accessed by human beings who are not perfect either, it's a recipe for a lot of really bad things to happen. And principally, if it was just one or two flock cameras, kind of like red light cameras, those are they really constitutional either? Well, But these are we're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, all over the country. That seems to just be mass surveillance to me. And so I'm kind of with the anti-flock crowd. If it quacks like mass surveillance and it walks like mass surveillance, it's probably mass surveillance. So I am on the anti-flock side. You can say, oh, these are just fringe cases. Still, I think I'm with the principle of it all. Finally, air analysis, slightly acidic, mostly necessary. In recent weeks, I've talked about myself far too much. I have a rule. I try not to talk about myself at all. I've broken that rule, mostly to complain about the circumstances of certain things in my life. However, there is one coincidence that happened late last week that is just too convenient to be coincidental. I have been complaining, guys, I shouldn't do this because it's just stuff that everybody, to varying degrees in everybody's lives, they've got to deal with. The unexpected things of married life, having small children, home, upkeep, all of those things, the uncertainty around life in general. I understand that. It's just seemed in recent kind of years that there's been an uptick in just stuff that we have to take on. For example, in the aftermath of, there's literally mold under the flooring of where I'm sitting right now that we're going to get remediated. More on that in a little bit. But poor Bella. I mean, I talked about this for our Patreon supporters, and I showed them video from my day job of this actually happening. Bella had an awful ear infection, swimmer's ear, last week. And so I was getting off of work at my day job, going to pick up a prescription for her. That prescription, the ear drops, didn't really work the way that they were supposed to. She ended up having to go to the ER late one night because the pain was so bad and the swelling was so bad. We thought maybe there was an infection in the bone. So that was one thing that happened last week. Coming out of work, looking at my phone, an insect lands on my left wrist. I just instinctively spaz out to get the insect off. I dropped my phone, didn't have it in a case for stupid reasons. Long story. Cracked the back of my phone. I was gingerly putting my phone in my pocket as I was walking in to get Bella's prescription. A shard of glass nicked me. I thought it was a nick. It turns out it's still there. You can't see that. There's a shard of glass stuck in my skin. I can't get it out. On my way home from picking up the prescription, a little stone cracks my windshield. It's just, yeah, that happened all in one day. And then the next day, Bella's in the ER. It's just stuff like this, one after the other. So that's the backdrop of me complaining about my life, things everybody has to deal with. However, trying to get kind of some auditing done with my financials, try to figure out, get everything, all my ducks in a row for getting this mold remediation done, which with little kids, probably a big deal. I was poking around what I'm actually paying for home and auto insurance. Poking around. And I realized I am getting supremely shafted on my homeowner's insurance. The increase in my mortgage payment monthly from where it was when we moved in 4 years ago, I had all attributed to inflation, assessment, taxes. I had attributed all to that. Turns out I've been slandering the good government of, well, I'm not going to tell you the name of the county where I live, but I've been slandering that good county government's name because my property taxes have been pretty flat for the last 4 years. What has increased is my homeowner's insurance. It's quadrupled. So I realized I was getting shafted, realized poor old Farm Bureau probably not going to be able to compete with Progressive. So I switched to Progressive. They're not sponsoring this video, by the way. And got an even better rate than what they were quoted online, what they quoted me online. And got the quote back for mold remediation here in this room. The quote for mold remediation is almost precisely what we're now saving annually on home and auto, within like $50. So there are other little indications here and there that, you know what? Why doubt the goodness of God? He promised he's going to give us everything that we need. Somebody out of the blue sent Bella and I a really generous gift. We don't know them. Just out of the blue. Just sent us a nice gift. So the message here this morning is that complaining about your life in a very public way, it gets result. No. The message here is that why freak out? Why stress out over things that I already know? I already told you multiple times. Everybody deals with stuff. Why freak out over that? Because God knows what you need, and he'll give it to you. And sometimes nothing more, but all the times nothing less. So that's the message this Tuesday morning. Hope you have a good one. Back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.